I'm Brenda, 29, and I've always been the fixer in our family, the one called for late bills or car troubles. No matter what. Last year, after grinding through freelance marketing jobs, I bought a small wooden house in rural Pennsylvania, a simple place to call my own. My younger sister needed a spot after her breakup, so I let her crash in the spare room for a month. Temporary, I thought. It started okay, but she dug in. Over a year now, no rent, no cleanup, her stuff everywhere, turning my living room into her crash pad for friends who partied late. My stepmother egged it on, texting me, "She's family. Brenda, you've got extra. Don't push her out." I'd swallow it, covering utilities and groceries to keep the peace. Until that night, I'd hustled a full day freelancing, threw together pasta for dinner, and finally sat down. My sister shot me a look. All alone out here figures. I brushed it off, but she doubled down, smirking, "Who would ever like a fool like you?" My stepmother cackled, wine sloshing. "Spot on, she's too uptight." Silence hit hard. I dropped my fork, grabbed my keys, and headed for the door. They half laughed, yelling it was a bluff, but as I drove off, something shifted. No more bending, and by morning, those calls proved they knew it too. Before I get to my story, I want to know what time and what city you're listening in. I'm happy to know how far my story goes. After that walkout, I spent the night at a cheap motel down the road, staring at the ceiling as my phone buzzed with ignored texts. Things hadn't started this way. When Sheila first moved in, it was just a favor. Her boyfriend had dumped her, and she needed a roof. My house in rural Pennsylvania was small, wooden, with a creaky porch and plenty of space for one more, but 1 month became 3, then 6, and suddenly a year had passed. She quit looking for work after a couple of half-hearted interviews, claiming the market was tough. Instead, she lounged on my couch all day, scrolling her phone while I hustled freelance marketing jobs from the kitchen table. Bills, I covered them alone, electricity for her endless charging, groceries for her midnight snacks. She'd promised to chip in next paycheck, but that never came. Worse, she treated the place like her own. Her clothes piled up in the hallway, turning my organized space into chaos. Friends dropped by unannounced, laughing loud into the night, their cars blocking my driveway. I'd come home from a client call to find beer cans scattered and the fridge empty. "Relax, Brenda," she'd say with a roll of her eyes. "It's not like you have plans anyway." Those little digs built up comments on my boring routine, how I never dated, always buried in work. I let it slide, thinking family meant putting up with it. Yvonne made it harder. My stepmother, who'd married my dad when I was in high school, called weekly to defend her. "Brenda, she's going through a rough patch," she'd text. "You have that big house all to yourself, be generous." Generous, I'd already paid for everything, from Sheila's phone bill to her streaming subscriptions. Yvonne pushed the narrative that I was the selfish one, hoarding my earnings while Sheila deserved a break. If I hinted at boundaries, she'd guilt me. "Family supports family, or are you too good for us now?" It wore me down, making me question if I was overreacting. The tension simmered until that dinner. I'd had a grueling day pitching to a new client, but I still stopped for ingredients on the way home. Chopped onions, boiled pasta, stirred sauce, my hands aching as I set the table. Yvonne had driven over for the meal, her usual judgmental stare fixed on me. We ate in awkward quiet at first, but then Sheila started. "This pasta's bland," she muttered, pushing her plate. I ignored it, but she kept going. "Like your life, Brenda, no flavor, no fun." Yvonne chuckled, nodding along. I tried to change the subject, mentioning a project win at work. "That's great," Sheila said sarcastically. "But who cares, you're always alone, buried in emails." Her tone sharpened. "Who would ever like a fool like you?" Yvonne exploded in laughter, slapping the table. "Oh, honey, she's not wrong, you're so rigid. No one could stand it." The word stung, hot and final. My fork clattered down. Before I could respond, Yvonne waved her hand. "Enough. You have 15 minutes to get out of my house." Her house. It was mine, but the command hung there, backed by her smug grin and Sheila's smirk. I stood, legs steady, and headed for the door without a fight. The motel room smelled of stale coffee, but it gave me space to think without their voices echoing. I grabbed what I could in those 15 minutes: wallet, laptop, a change of clothes, and drove off into the night. No dramatic speech, no slamming doors, just the hum of the engine on the dark Pennsylvania roads. By the time I checked in, my phone lit up with messages. Sheila's first, "You're really doing this over a joke." Yvonne's followed, "Come back, we're family." They assumed I'd cool off and return by morning, like always. But this time, the line was drawn. Sleep evaded me. I replayed the evening. The way Sheila's words landed like punches. Yvonne's laugh sealing the deal. When dawn broke, the calls started, 36 in total, mostly from Yvonne, mixed with texts pleading for a talk. "Brenda, where are you? This is ridiculous. You can't just leave your sister homeless." Guilt trips piled on. "Think about what your dad would say. You're tearing us apart over nothing." She even invoked family duty. "We've always been there for you. Now you're abandoning us." Each notification twisted the knife, but I let them ring out, watching the screen flash. Finally, I picked up one. Yvonne's voice cracked through, "Please, reconsider. Sheila has nowhere else. She's sorry." "Okay." I hung up without a word, blocking the number temporarily to focus. That silence fueled me. No more swallowing insults or funding their free ride. I opened my laptop right there in the motel, pulling up bank statements. Every utility payment I'd made alone. Every grocery receipt where I'd covered her share evidence stacking up. Text logs too, full of her promises to move out soon, broken one after another. By afternoon, more messages trickled in from extended family, stirred by whatever story they'd spun. An aunt texted, "Heard you're kicking Sheila out cold harsh." "Brenda." I ignored them, channeling the anger into action. At a nearby cafe, I printed the documents, organizing folders on my expenses. The plan formed: demand what was owed, set boundaries hard. No turning back now. Later that day, I met up with an old colleague for coffee. She'd dealt with similar family messes. Her advice hit home: document everything. Don't let them gaslight you. It solidified my resolve. Back at the motel, I drafted notes on next steps: lawyer consult. Formal notice. The weight lifted slightly, replaced by purpose. Yvonne tried calling again through a different number, but I declined. This wasn't revenge yet. It was reclaiming control. As evening fell, Sheila sent a voice note. "You think you're better than us? Fine. Keep your precious house." Her tone dripped defiance, but I heard the crack underneath. They expected me to cave. But the evidence folder grew thicker. For the first time, I felt the shift, not victim, but victor in waiting. Evening settled in at the cafe where I'd printed those documents, but a quick check on my banking app stopped me cold. I headed back to the house to grab more of my things, figuring they'd be out. The driveway looked empty at first, but then I noticed my car was gone. Not parked in the garage where I'd left it, not down the street. Vanished. Panic hit as I dialed the tracker app I'd installed months ago for safety. It pinged at a storage unit 20 miles away. Sheila had taken it. No doubt her way of hitting back for me walking out. Fury built as I borrowed a ride from a neighbor and drove straight there. The unit door was ajar. My car inside, crammed with boxes of her stuff. She stepped out, arms crossed, smirking like she'd won. "What? You thought I'd leave empty-handed? This is payback for making me feel unwanted." I demanded the keys, but Yvonne appeared from behind, her car parked nearby. "Brenda, calm down. She's just borrowing it. You overreacted last night. Now you're causing more trouble." The confrontation escalated fast. Yvonne blocked the door, voice rising. "You think you can just abandon us? Sheila needs this car to job hunt. Be reasonable." I pushed past, grabbing the spare key from my bag. "Reasonable after a year of me paying everything while she slacks off." Sheila laughed bitterly. "Oh, please, you love playing the hero. Poor Brenda, always the victim." Yvonne jumped in, tone sharp. "If you take that car, don't expect any family support again. We're done helping you." I drove off with it anyway, heart pounding from the standoff. Their threats lingered, but so did my determination. Later that afternoon, I called Marla, my friend from college who'd navigated her own messy divorce. We met at a park bench near the motel. "They took your car. That's crossing a line," she said, eyes wide. I laid out the details: the free stay, the constant digs, the blow-up at dinner. Marla nodded, pulling out her phone to show notes from her case. "You need to hit back legally. Start with a demand letter, list every expense you've covered." I used a cheap online template. It scared my ex straight. She walked me through steps, photographed the car for proof, logged the storage unit address, consult a small claims advisor. Don't go alone next time. Record everything. You've got this. I've seen how they drain you. Her words sparked clarity, turning my rage into strategy. We spent the hour brainstorming, her experience filling gaps in my plan. By the time we parted, I had a checklist: secure the car at a friend's place, block their access to my accounts, prepare the formal notice. Marla's support made it real. No more isolation. The drive back felt different, empowered. Their move had backfired. Now it was ammunition. With Marla's checklist in hand, I moved ahead to the next step. I drafted the demand letter that night, listing every dime I'd shelled out: $2,000 in utilities, $500 in groceries, plus the car's registration fees. Marla's template made it straightforward, formal but firm. By morning, I had it notarized at the local library and sent via certified mail to Sheila's last known address, their shared P.O. box. The receipt confirmed delivery 2 days later. They had to sign for it. Sheila's response came quick, a string of texts, casual and defiant. Demand letter over your old car. You're pathetic. No apology. No offer to return anything. She attached a photo of the garage empty, captioning it, all yours now, enjoy the silence. Yvonne chimed in separately, this is petty. Brenda, drop it before you regret. Their dismissal only hardened my stance. No backing down. Word spread fast through the family group chat, the one I'd muted months ago. Sheila posted first. Brenda's suing me over a car I borrowed after kicking me out with no warning. She's cruel. Always has been. Yvonne amplified. Pray for our family. Her heart's turned cold. Relatives jumped in at Margaret with, that's not the Brenda I know. Uncle David adding, family first, not lawyers. The thread exploded, painting me as the villain who'd abandoned a struggling sister. My dad called that evening, his voice heavy with exhaustion. Randall, the quiet type who'd remarried Yvonne when I was 16, rarely reached out unless pushed. Brenda, what's this about a lawsuit? Yvonne says you're dragging Sheila to court over nothing. I explained the facts: the year of unpaid bills, the car taken without a word, but he cut in. She's your sister. Give her grace. Life's been hard. His tone sided with them, echoing Yvonne's line about family unity. Don't make this worse, talk it out. I held firm, but the call ended strained, him sighing as we hung up, undeterred. I gathered fresh records the next day, scanned old emails where Sheila begged for extensions on moving out, cross-referenced with my bank log showing solo payments. Photos of the storage unit added weight, timestamps proving the car's relocation. At the county courthouse in Pennsylvania, I filed the small claims petition under $12,000 in damages. No need for a full lawyer. The clerk stamped it efficient. Hearing set for 3 weeks out. Fees were minimal, covered by my savings. As the week wore on, the chat shifted subtly. A cousin messaged privately. Saw the thread, Sheila's story doesn't add up. You've helped her tons. Another relative chimed in. Yvonne's version sounds off. Need both sides. Doubts crept in, cracks forming in their narrative. I didn't engage publicly, letting the documents speak. The petition served. Sheila fired back with a furious call. You won't win this, everyone sees you're the problem. But her bluster rang hollow now. Filing wrapped up with a final review of the packet, everything airtight. 3 weeks passed before the hearing date arrived, and I walked into the county courthouse feeling the weight of every page in my folder. The room was plain, fluorescent lights buzzing over a wooden bench where the judge sat. Sheila arrived late, frazzled, with Yvonne whispering at her side. I wore my best blouse, folder in hand, and took the stand first. Your Honor, my sister lived with me rent-free for over a year in my Pennsylvania home, I stated calmly. I covered all costs: $2,000 in utilities, $500 in food, while she contributed nothing. When I asked her to leave, she took my car without permission, storing it off-site to spite me. I presented the bundle bank statements time-stamped, emails of her delays, the certified demand ignored, photos of the unit with her signature on the lease. The judge flipped through, nodding. Clear documentation here. Sheila's turn came. She fidgeted, voice wavering. It wasn't stealing, the car was basically mine after all that time. I used it more than her, and she threw me out over a silly fight. She's vindictive, always holding grudges. Yvonne nodded vigorously from the bench, but Sheila's claims faltered under questions. Proof of ownership, the judge asked. She stammered, offering no receipts. I countered with the title in my name, Registration paid solely by me. The spin crumbled fast. After a brief recess, the ruling dropped. Ms. Brenda, your evidence holds. Miss Sheila, return the vehicle within 7 days. Reimburse $3,000 for damages and fees, or face enforcement. Sheila's face strained color. Yvonne gripped her arm, murmuring plans. I exhaled. The gavel's echo marking the end. No celebration, just quiet satisfaction as we filed out. Sheila shot a glare, but the law had spoken. The fallout hit them hard in the days after. Sheila texted sporadically, tone shifting from anger to desperation. Can't believe you did this, now I'm screwed. Her job at the local diner went south. The stress from the case made her miss shifts, leading to a write-up and eventual firing. Manager said I'm too distracted, she admitted in one message. Without steady income, she scraped together rent for a cramped apartment in town, $800 a month. Utilities extra. No buffer from family. The move drained her savings, leaving her scrambling for odd jobs. Yvonne fared no better. Cut off from my occasional help, like the $100 I'd wired for her car repair, she faced bills piling up. Her social circle shrank. Mutual friends pulled back after hearing both accounts. Whispers of one-sided spreading. She stopped posting in the group chat, her defenses crumbling. Aunt Margaret reached out to me privately. Talk to Randall, your side makes sense. Sorry we bought their story at first. Uncle David followed, proud you stood firm. Let's grab coffee sometime. Their quiet support arrived via text. No fanfare, just acknowledgement. Sheila complied grudgingly. The car towed back by deadline. Keys dropped at a neutral spot. Yvonne sent one last plea. We can fix this. I deleted it unread. The victory wasn't flashy, but it severed the hold they'd had. Months later, that severance brought unexpected gains. Work picked up pace with the family noise gone. I dove into my marketing freelance, landing a big client pitch on sustainable brands. The preparation paid off a contract worth $15,000 annually, plus a promotion to lead consultant. My boss emailed, Brenda, your focus is sharp. This is your spot now. The extra income let me upgrade the wooden house, new locks on the doors, a fresh coat of paint on the porch. Evenings freed up for hikes in the nearby woods, the crunch of leaves underfoot a reminder of reclaimed peace. Marla became a regular fixture. We grabbed dinners weekly, her stories of rebuilding after divorce mirroring my steps. You're glowing, she said one night over burgers. That mess, it was your launch pad. Her encouragement led to a small gathering, me, her, a couple of old work contacts at my place. Laughter filled the living room. No judgments. Just easy talk about campaigns and trails. Aunt Margaret joined once, after her private text. If you're open, I'd like to visit. We kept it light. No family drama dredged up. Uncle David sent a golf invite, which I took up. Swinging clubs under clear skies. These ties strengthened, built on respect, not obligation. Cutting them off completely sealed the deal. I blocked Randall's number after his last voicemail. We miss you. Let's talk. And left the group chat for good. No replies to Yvonne's sporadic pleas. No response to Sheila's updates on her struggles. The silence wasn't cold. It was necessary. Randall tried once more through email, attaching a photo of the old house. Come home. I archived it. Moving on without regret. Their world spun without my input, and mine thrived without theirs. Sheila's slide deepened. Unemployment benefits kicked in briefly, but the $3,000 judgment ate most of it, forcing her into temp gigs, cleaning shifts at motels, waitressing on weekends. The cramped apartment became a revolving door of roommates, arguments over late rent echoing her old habits. She vented to mutual friends, who shared snippets. She's burned out, blaming everyone but herself. Yvonne, isolated further, leaned on fading connections. Her car broke down again. No bailout this time, leading to rides from neighbors she barely knew. Bills mounted, cable cut, groceries rationed, and her once weekly calls to relatives tapered off. The family dynamic fractured. Even Randall pulled back, admitting in a neutral text to Aunt Margaret, I see now where I went wrong. In the quiet of my house, with rain pattering on the roof, I reflected on the cost. Not just dollars, but the energy drained for years. Boundaries weren't walls. They were doors I could lock. Self-respect meant choosing who stayed in, and that choice unlocked freedom I'd forgotten existed. For anyone watching, the lesson hits clear. Let go of those who take without giving, and watch your own path light up. It's tough, but the air on the other side crisp in yours.